So that is hot, that is sizzling. So now we want to take our onions and garlic. So very simple cut, and we want to take them and dump them there.
Perfect.
So we take our garlics and onions, and we just, and I like to do this because I love the taste of garlic. And on a personal story, when I used to be like a emerging chef, I thought that complexity was key. I thought that being stuff and like doing all these fancy things to food would make it taste better. But then I learned that simplicity is key because it allows you to do simple things right. And when you're able to do simple things right, that's a mark of a truly good chef. So now that we have our onions and garlic going, we want to turn our corn. And so now that it's right side down or laying flat, it's roasting. And we just want to be mindful that our corn is there. So we're able to, let's do a zoom in shot of the corn.
Okay, got it.
So now that it's like that, you kind of want to be mindful of it, turning every 3 to 4 minutes so you get that even roast. So when you take a bite of it, you get that roasted corn goodness in every single bite. All right.
That sounds
so
good.
Now that we have our corn and our onions started, we want to focus on the star of the show, which is the salmon, right? So we're going to follow me to the refrigerator. I'm going to take the salmon out. Look at that beautiful pink salmon. So we go back to our counter area and we deposit it on a simple piece of aluminum foil. So the aluminum foil is used to capture the steam of the steam of, you know, when it's cooking. So we want to, it's essential, it's very important that when we fold the aluminum foil, it is sealed in a way where the steam doesn't escape, right? So we want to make sure that we properly seal the salmon because the steam is going to do the work for us, okay?
Okay, Chef Miguel, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Does it matter which side is up, shiny side up, or does it matter?
It doesn't have a lot of skin.
Not with, I'm sorry, with the foil.
Oh, no,
Okay.
with the foil, no.
Okay.
So every time I do this dish, I think about my baby nephew. He's 3, and of course he loves Christmas. So I imagine wrapping a gift for him. And that brings me to a really fun place. So when we take the salmon, we're gonna zoom in on me folding the salmon. We want to make sure that we fold the salmon like that, okay? So then we want to crease every single area gently to make sure, again, that the salmon steam or the steam doesn't escape, right? Because as I said before, the steam is our friend. In this process, the steam is our friend. So we want to wrap, seal very carefully to make sure. Now, when I first started to make this dish, I make the very rookie mistake of cutting a hole in the salmon because I was hasty. I wanted to get it done, right? But the important thing is to make sure that you take your time. And if you do cut a hole in the foil, it's okay, right? Get another piece and try again. As in most things in life, practice makes perfect. Right. So now that we have it wrapped, I wanted to show you the wrapping, right? Because that's the important part. We can unwrap it to prepare it. So we want to unwrap it, right? So I'm going to do the wrapping twice because like I said, it was essential and we want to get it right. So we take our salmon, imagine that this is the beginning, and we want to take, excuse me for a moment. We want to take a little bit of olive oil.
Okay.
And a tablespoon and make sure that you can use your fingers, that the salmon, that the olive oil is covered throughout the salmon, throughout the foil, that the olive oil covers most of the foil. You see with your fingers?
Yes, we can
And
see.
then you just put the salmon on top. You put a little bit of salt. Now, my personal recommendation to you all is to use kosher salt, right? It's a little bit more expensive, but not so expensive that it's gonna break the bank. So, and that really pays off in flavor. So
And
don't.
why is that, chef?
Why is what?
Why do you prefer kosher salt?
So like I said, when I was an emerging chef, I used a lot of fancy, materials, a lot of fancy ingredients, but I'll be honest, and I could say that I didn't know what to do with them, right? And then as I progressed, I did learn that some ingredients are key. And the simple explanation to that is that kosher salt is a key ingredient, as
Okay.
simple as that.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to really attack that salmon with some salt, right? Don't be shy about it. So now that we have the salmon roasted with salt, covered in olive oil and salt, we can go to the other ingredients. Now, one of the things that I like about simple cooking is that it affords flexibility, right? So sometimes you come home and you're tired and you have to feed your family. So you have to depend on what you have in the refrigerator, right? You can't go and shop, right? So I am using specific vegetables today, but it's really open to what vegetables you can use to dress your salmon, right? So we're gonna go back to the salmon. So the vegetables that I'll be using today are potato, onions, squash, and a little bit of cilantro. So like I explained before, I had already pre-cut them. So we're just gonna put them, and carrot. So the first vegetable I'm gonna show you is just baby carrots. And using the baby carrots is really simple. We just take a baby carrot, they've come pre-cut, and we just cut them in half. That's it. We cut several carrots and we cut in half. Another pro tip, you wanna make your dish appealing to the eye, right? Because someone very wise once said, we eat with our eyes first. So when we make a dish attractive, we want to ensure that we have some color in it. So we're gonna add some rainbow carrots that have already been cut in half.
Okay, so, Chef Miguel, we're already almost halfway through. Oh my goodness.
So now I remembered I have things on the stove, so we can go back to the stove and check in on that. So remember, a key thing is that we make sure that the corn is roasting on all sides, and we're gonna turn our onions off. They're ready. We're gonna take them, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, but can you hear that continued sizzle?
Yes.
That's what life's about. So we put, we put the onions, and you see that I'm continuously putting more butter and olive oil. So this dish, you can say that it's healthy because you're only using olive oil and a little bit of butter. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of butter. The rest is vegetables. So when you're eating healthy, it is my belief that you should indulge yourself a little bit so you don't feel constrained, right? Because when you feel constrained, that's when when you go to the store and you see donuts and you're like, oh my God, I want to eat everything, because you've been restraining yourself for so long.
Right.
So I have a little bit of onions. I'm gonna take a fork and I'm gonna dress the onions on top of the salmon. And I'm gonna take a little of the onion and taste it. That butter, that olive oil, that caramelization, I wish you could be tasting it with me. That's
We
like,
are in our head. We are.
then you're lucky. So now that we have the salmon and the onions and the carrots, we can continue with the potatoes. They're simple russet potatoes. We put them on top and then just let them fall where they may. So now we take squash. My mother always told me that squash is a healing vegetable. I'm not sure why, but she's my mother, so I have to listen to her. So I just like putting squash as a vegetable. But remember, if you like Brussels sprouts, if you like other vegetables, I invite you. And for a little bit of dressing, we're gonna put a cilantro. Now,
So Chef Miguel, how long is that going to take in the oven?
it's not in the oven. We're gonna place it on a skillet, and it's gonna take about 15 minutes to cook. The other thing is that I'm gonna put a lemon rind, not a rind, a circle, whatever you call a slice of lemon.
Slice of lemon.
Excuse me, slice of lemon. I was trying to say circle, like where my head at.
That's okay.
So we're gonna put a slice of lemon just gingerly on top. Now, this is a personal preference, but when I hear that something has lemons, I wanna pucker, right? So I'm gonna cut another lemon, and I'm just gonna be daring and put some extra.
You're going to squeeze some on there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, that's just a personal preference, because I think that that punch of freshness, that punch of like lemony goodness elevates the dish from, like a Thursday night dinner to a dinner that you could probably have at some of LA's finest restaurants, right? So right now that we can go out and do stuff, we do it, right? So now we have the lemon, all the vegetables. We're going to fold it again gingerly. And in anticipation of time and everything, I already have some dishes that have been cooking. So this is just to show you, and then I'm gonna show you the finished product, right? So we wanna make sure that all the creases are there, because why? We want the steam to be our friend. We want the steam to catapult our dish to Flavor City, right? So now that we have the foil and the vegetables and the salmon, we want to walk back to our stove. And you see, I have this one already cooking. We have this one already cooking, right? Okay. This is going to be one that I have made, and I touched it and it's hot. So I caution you when you move things with your hand to remember that hot things are happening in the kitchen, right? So we just place it and make sure the crease are there. And again, that wonderful sizzle is happening. Every time I hear that wonderful sizzle, I know that my food is praising me for treating it with respect.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Chef Miguel, you may hear that again. I may have to use that. That is fantastic. Oh my goodness. What I like about what you're doing is, I thought you were going to put it in the oven, and with it being so hot these days, it's great. You can just put it on a skillet. And if you don't have a flat skillet, you can put it in a frying pan or something just to cook it that way. So that's perfect.
Yes. And it's hot in San Pedro. I live in San Pedro, and I want to highlight how much I love Fullerton, because I'm literally taking my face and getting up close to a flame.
Okay, be careful. So, please be careful. No work.
Oh, I am careful, but don't ever doubt that I will bend backwards for Fullerton, because I love this place.
Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you.
So now that we have our salmon roasting, we want to take it. And one thing to remember, you all, is that the salmon is going to take about 15 minutes to cook. And we want to be mindful of the corn, right?
Right. Don't forget that
So,
corn.
yeah. So we have about 10 minutes left. Do you have any more questions?
Does anybody in the audience have any questions? If you do, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Or a comment?
Or put it in the chat. I mean, I love the tips that you have given. They're fantastic. Really fantastic. And that quote at the end, got to use it, you guys. We have to use that. Your food is praising you. I love that. Anybody have any questions for him or any comments? Any tips of your own? No, that's okay.
No, thank you for the tips. They're good. Thank you.
And I like the idea that you can do this in a pan or in a, you know, I always do it in the oven.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about my culture. I'm Mexican, I identify as Mexican, and growing up in a Mexican household, we have something that is called comal. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. I don't know if I assume or not, but a comal is, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess I would call, can anyone help me? If you all know what a comal is, can anybody jump in and help me? Because when I am educating or when I'm doing a seminar or whatever, I really like to involve my audience. So does anybody have a comment or a question?
Someone said
about what a comal is or anything else?
Miguel, a comal is a griddle.
A comal is a griddle. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah. So if you don't have a comal in your house, you can use a griddle, right? So we want to make sure that the heat in our salmon is at medium, right? So now that we have our salmon cooking, I am going to dress the plate. And remember, you all, there's people, and I agree with this, that we first eat with our eyes. So we want to take our time. We want to be intentional in the way that we plate our plate. There, I use plate as a verb and as a noun. So we're gonna take
that
a plate.
faculty member for you. Woo!
So we're gonna take a plate, and in preparation, like I said, I started cooking a little bit. First, we're gonna take some corn that I already roasted, and we're gonna open it. So, do you guys see that beautiful char? I don't know if you can.
Yes,
Let's see, let me try.
There you go. The lighting's better right there. We can see it now.
Right, that beautiful char, I believe, is essential to giving that corn that elevated taste. I'm gonna sneak a taste for all of you because at least you told me that you guys are.
You're cheating. We can't do that. Oh my goodness. All right, so good.
I'm having a moment.
Okay. All right, we need you to keep going. We want you to show the finished dish before we're done.
So I cut the corn into more manageable bites. So when you're eating the corn, you don't wrestle with its size, right? Imagine that you're in a nice dinner party, you invited all your friends and you're introducing this dish. And imagine taking a big piece of corn and like, you know, like they do in the cartoons, like, we want a small piece, right? I also prepared a rice dish and we have it right here. I think that something that is very simple to make is simple white rice, right? I made it a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more complex by adding a little bit of color to it. So inside the rice is just a simple white rice. We all have a recipe for it. I put corn, carrots, string beans, right? So we want to take it and we want to take it back to our plate and we want to decorate it. So we carefully spoon it. Right? And even though it's a simple rice, the additions, the little pops of color make it more attractive. It makes it a more exciting dish to do. So in the last 5 minutes that we have together, it's the moment of truth. We're gonna take a pre-cooked salmon in foil and enveloped salmon, and we're gonna open it. And if I did it right, you guys are gonna be able to see that beautiful steam come out. And we're gonna taste it.
All right. We're getting
So-
ready. Drum roll. All right.
So we take that's a piece that's been already cooking, right?
Right.
And we're gonna imagine again that you're hosting a dinner party and all your friends are there, or maybe you're hosting a dinner party for your staff members or your colleagues, and you wanna impress them, and then you present this dish to them, and you tell them, go ahead and cut it open. I'm nervous right now because I'm not sure if when I open the salmon, there's gonna be steam. So if there's no steam, be gentle.
If there's no steam, we're gonna blame it on video. We're gonna blame.
Right, so let's really zoom in. Okay, are y'all ready?
We're ready.
Okay, we take it. Imagine your guests doing this, right? It's
Right.
not only dining, it's an interactive experience. So then you open it, and then that smell, my goodness, you guys, that smell is everything. And you see
Wow.
all the beautiful vegetables after 25 minutes of cooking. Okay, and now I'm gonna take a bite. Are you
Well,
ready
you
for the
know
big
what,
moment?
Chef,
I'm my worst self-critic. So if this dish is not good, believe me, I will be the first one to tell you.
tell us what you taste after you taste it.
You'll be able to see it in my face.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that your first spoonful has all of the ingredients, that we have the salmon and everything. And here's a moment of truth.
Oh, you know what? While you're tasting, I'm gonna tell the audience that that dish is a meal by itself. You almost don't need all the side dishes. After you put potatoes and carrots and all of that. Uh-oh, he's loving it. Tell us. Tell us.
Physically weak in my knees, you all. Physically weak. So believe me that if you want a healthy, quick meal that's relatively inexpensive, all of this can be done under $30. And I feed a family of 4. So what is that? My math majors out there, what is 30 divided by 4? Like $7 a person?
Well,
It's cheaper than fast food and faster than cheap food. And that's what healthy cooking means to me. Back to you.
oh my gosh, thank you so much. You have given us quite a few tips today, and especially the carrot, the corn, cooking it upright. I always thought you just turn it on its side, but that was pretty interesting. Anybody have any comments or anybody want to say anything or ask any questions to Chef Miguel? Because you actually, if you don't care for fish, if you don't care for salmon, you can do this with chicken. You can do this with a lot of different proteins. You can use shrimp, all different things. So that is pretty easy. And you know what, as much as I watch cooking shows, I've actually never actually done that. So I am going to try that, you guys. I hope you do too. I hope you enjoyed us today. And I hope you come back next week, and please tell a friend. We have these scheduled up until the last one is September the 23rd, every Wednesday at noon. And want to say thank you all for joining us today. Please tell a friend, and thank you so much, Chef Miguel, for all of your wonderful tips today. And everybody, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of the day, and please go ahead and try this recipe. Thank you all.